Hey everyone, it's Alexis with Create Your Future, and I am back today, you guys, with a brand new video, a new success story, and just some tips today about manifesting, and just a different focus for a video with some tips and tricks about how to get yourself to get what you want and how to be the person that has it. Before I get started, thank you for liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing, and please hit the bell icon in the box below. You get notified every time that we post new videos. Okay, you guys, so really exciting. I've had a bunch of clients recently who are all success stories, and I've done videos like this in the past, so I thought it would be really helpful to do another one about the commonalities with these clients. What did they do, and then what didn't they do? So one of these clients was a one-on-one coaching client. She also got the Manifest Marriage Manifest Your Happy Ever After, How to Manifest the Marriage of Your Dreams course that I also offer. Another client also did one-on-one coaching, and she did hypnosis recordings that I had available on the website, specifically the one about being a goddess. Another client that was a success story recently, and I'll say that these are all people that are success stories that are in the midst of the manifestation. They're in the midst of the culmination of it. They're in the midst of creating it, okay? This third client, she also did coaching with me, and she got the Manifest Marriage course. So all of these clients have manifested contact with their specific person. They're seeing the ideal version of their specific person emerge, which is also very exciting. The last video I did is what is the ideal version of your SP? So if you want, you could reference that. But I sat down and I thought about this time, this group of clients, what were they doing that made them successful outside of coaching? What were they really doing? What were they paying attention to? Because I have people that get coaching and it takes a length of time. Other people where there's all different kinds of variables because each of us has a different kind of mindset before we're get into this whole manifestation game. Okay, but there were three commonalities that I found with these clients that they did. Number one, and I would suggest if you haven't done so yet, you could get a pen and paper because these are very handy tools. Number one, they identified what they wanted. And through our talks, they identified who they would be if they already had their desire. And very interesting caveat, who would they be, like I like to say, in the timeline of the desire? But we got into the area of the location of the manifestation in the timeline and living in the end that was applicable to the now. So one of them wanted to be married, and along with, like I said, she got my course. So she was already in a relationship, and we got her to live in the end of marriage. Okay. One of them was wanting to manifest contact with the SP, and then we identified that as more of her living in the end zone. So just to go back to my bullet points here. Number one, each client identified what they wanted and who would they be if they already had it. Number two is that they released anger, worry, and fear about the specific manifestation, about the specific person. And really, like I tell all of my clients to do, they continually, consistently released anxiety, worry, and fear about life in general. If you are someone that generally has anxiety, worry, or fear, I'll try to go into that today. Hopefully I remember. I think everyone at this point knows because of my last video that I'm currently pregnant. Even though my last video wasn't intended to be a pregnancy announcement, I just said it. So I've done a lot of intentions for my pregnancy. Recently, I've been doing intentions that I remember everything. Okay, so I intend to remember to go over anxiety, worry, and fear. Okay, so in any event, you guys, these videos are very ad hoc, right? We do them at our homes. We're not in a studio, so they're very spur of the moment. So if you are a person who is anxious, worried, and afraid, we don't want you to be that anymore, you guys. So these clients released anxiety, worry, or fear. And I will say too that the hypnosis and listening to the hypnosis recordings that are part of my courses, and then the ones that are available on the website, seem to be helping a lot of people just really get into the state of being in a sense of okayness, of being in a sense of freedom, of being in a sense of peace, of being in a sense of harmony. That is so necessary to anything that you're manifesting, because if we just tend to be hardwired to have a anxious, fretful, worrisome state, then that affects everything, because then you're duplicating that anxiety, worry, or fear to everything. Now, I have been in the mental health field for a very long time. If you think you're an anxious person, if you're on anxiety medication, I'm not really talking to you. I'm talking more to the people who are labeling themselves as anxious people. It happens all the time. Everybody seems to think that they're anxious, okay? But remember, your thoughts are things. You can create the state where you're in a sense of okayness. That's what I really like to call it. That's what I've identified for myself is so helpful over the years, is embodying and duplicating and deciding in a state of okayness. And this means when things are not okay outside of me, I am honing in on okayness, harmony, tranquility, neutrality, peace. So these clients did that. That was number 2. So what I've said so far is number 1, they identified what they wanted, and then they identified the state that was accessible to them in the timeline of the manifestation where they could live in the end from. So this means if this would be, let's look at the flip of that, what we wouldn't want you to do, in my coach opinion. This is just from helping hundreds of people and myself, right? If you're in no contact with your SP, you could still be manifesting for marriage, because anything is possible. Your world is you pushed out. But I would say to understand how the mind works and to activate all the appropriate laws of the mind, which the law of assumption is one of them, let's go for somewhere a little bit closer to the now, such as I'm unblocked, we're communicating, living in the end of constant communication, perhaps living in the end of being with a specific person in a justifiable committed relationship, okay? In any event. So these clients did that. Number 1, again, they accessed a version of themselves. They accessed a living in the end state. They released, number 2 was they released anxiety, worry, or fear. Number 3 is I'm sure that no one's going to be surprised. This is number 3. They were consistent in being persistent. I'm going to say it again. Consistent in being persistent. As boring as it is, you've heard me say this in so many videos. If you are new to this information, then welcome. This will make more sense if you watch some of the previous videos, but it might help you out. Who knows? Number 3, consistent in persisting. Now, why do we have to be consistent in persisting? Because your outside world, your physical reality, is a duplication of that which you hold within you, okay? So we have to persist in the new aspects in the inner mind. We have to persist in the new aspects in the conscious mind of you being the person that already has it. So like, let's take, for example, the client that was manifesting marriage, took my Manifest Marriage course, which I will say is my favorite course that I've ever done. It has a lot of information about quantum physics. You get 2 hypnosis recordings. One is I am married, one is we are married, and a lot of juicy nuggets. Now, she took the course. She was already in a relationship, and she identified she wanted to be married to the SP. Now, she began doing the hypnosis. She accessed that state of living in the end, which made sense for her logically, because she's an analytical person. And she began telling herself that she was already married. She already had the name. She already had all the things. It had already happened. It was already happening. So guess what? Everybody around her began to mirror that outside the SP first. Everybody was getting married. She was seeing marriage things everywhere. She was seeing rings everywhere, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then the family of the SP began to talk about them getting married, asking questions. And that whole situation in the 3D experience began to push them, push she and the SP towards the conversations about marriage, solidifying it. And then the SP, you guys, like out of nowhere, began to be more excited about getting married than she was. Who would have planned on that? That's why I always say, get out of the how of something. It will be delivered in a way much more magical and cataclysmic than we can ever plan for, okay? But listen, there was a period of time where she was really persistent and consistent in that new state without seeing any evidence, right? She wasn't doing intentions and doing hypnosis and visualizing for 7 days or 2 days and then saying, oh my God, where is it? It's not here. It should have happened already. In my opinion, you guys, if you're in that camp of, I've been doing this for so long, Where is it a frustrated thing? You're in anxiety, worry, or fear, and you really got to stop it because that will block everything. You know, somebody mentioned in my previous video that I was so stirred in my video. I think that I take that as a compliment in terms of being a coach, because that's the only way that I get clients over the hump of feeling supported, is that if I was holding everyone's hand saying, oh, it's okay, then I don't think that I'd be as effective as this. So in any event, I've never been called stern before, but I actually really appreciate it as my coach personality, my version of me that's a coach. In any event, you guys, you got to stop it. If you book sessions and you're saying it hasn't happened yet, what am I doing wrong, etc., like you probably just haven't been persistent and consistent enough, which comes to number 3. I've done very many videos about why you have to be persistent and consistent, but now I'm putting this into the nutshell of the state of living in the end. Okay, so you, whoever is watching this, and all of my clients, all of our subscribers can easily do this. I want to go back to what is the timeline of you, right? How do we access that, the aspect of you and the chosen state of you? What I would say is you want to think about, you have a timeline. This comes from neurolinguistic programming. It comes from integrative psychology. There is the timeline of you, and there is the timeline of the events in the future. There is the present moment. There are all the events that happened in the past. What you want to do is, given your state, right, is identify, where can I be living in the end of that's logical for me, that I'm not going to have a lot of negativity and talk myself out of and be resistant to. If you're in no contact with an SP, it makes very little sense for me, in my mind, now, this is just Alexis, to be living in the end of marriage. Seems a little bit too far in the future. What if we do a living in the end of a little closer, like I already mentioned, right? So you really don't want to be like, I'm a master manifester now, and I'm going to make this illogical for myself, because your mind, remember, come back to the basics. Your thoughts are things your thoughts create. Your assumptions push out into your world. If you think it's too far in the future, you're going to talk yourself out of it and have a bunch of negative thoughts, and then those thoughts are creating. It's that simple, okay? So look at your life as a timeline. Think, okay, in my physical 3D reality, this is what happens. People meet, they fall in love, they get connected, they have great communication, they choose each other, they decide they want to be in a committed relationship. They decide they're boyfriend and girlfriend, right? They're super happy about it. Everything is so great. In an idealistic sense, they move forwards, you move in together. You know, you have different hallmarks of relationships. You can go through all the hallmarks very quickly. But in any event, look at them all. See, like, what is easiest for me to think about? What is easiest for me to embody? What is easiest for me to pick first? And then I'm going to do that. I'm going to persist in the state. I'm going to be consistent in persisting about the thoughts of that state of being. And I am going to allow it to happen in my 3D. All right, you guys. So those are tips and tricks that you can literally apply to anything that you're manifesting, whether it be a specific person. That could be your mother, your father, your spouse, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, or your love interest, or your child. It could also be applied to money and manifesting more abundance. And it can also be applied to your self-concept, right? Who are you in the timeline? Who are you as a girlfriend? Who are you as a wife? Who are you as a boyfriend? If none of those titles apply to you, then pick something else and go with it. Really see and start to ask yourself, am I anxious, worried, and afraid? If I'm anxious, worried, and afraid, and I get frustrated and I get in my mind space too much and I overthink everything, I gotta let go of that. Be at peace with myself, access the version of me that is more calm, more collected, more in harmony, and more in peace with who he or she is. Okay. All right, you guys. So to sum it up, I think I've already said it twice, but number 1 is identifying in your timeline, where would you be in a logical sense? Where can we work with? Where is it manageable? Number 2, releasing anxiety, worry, or fear. And then number 3 is persisting and being consistent in the persistency. Now, my intention worked because I remembered that at the end of the video, I was going to go into what are anxiety, worry, or fear. Why is it important that we don't embody those and we work on releasing those? The simplest reason, you guys, is because if you're anxious, worried, and afraid, you're going to project negativity into your reality about a lot of things. You're going to think a lot of things. You're going to be what I call like disaster creating. You're creating disasters, creating pre-paving the future self, right, with thoughts of things going wrong. That's what anxiety, worry, or fear do. They have you duplicate a previous experience and then push it out into the future. So you just want to get really good at getting okay. I know it sounds basic, but it's really helpful baseline to get really basic with these things because we all need these. Getting really comfortable with being okay. Getting really comfortable just being in that state of okayness. Getting really comfortable just being in that state of harmony, duplicating it, creating it, embodying it. And then lo and behold, when things go awry, when you're in the middle of a manifestation, or when something happens because of old thoughts, or when something happens that you don't want, then you're not prone to have so much of that reaction of things don't work out for me, everything is wrong, a disaster mode. It begins to be less and less and less. And then you can move through life in a more, you're swimming downstream. You are more in the flow of things. You're just enjoying things more. You're more in the moment. You're more able to be in the enjoyment, the love, and the flow of the experience of being human, which is part of what you came here to do. All right, you guys. Well, I have gone over so many nuggets in this video. I hope that you have found this information helpful. And I am going on my maternity leave in 3 weeks. So if you would like to book a one-on-one session with me, there's still some spots available, but they're all getting filled up. So the link for booking one-on-one coaching with me is in the description box below, as well as the link to my courses, and then as well as a link to all the hypnosis audios that I have already available for purchase that are on the website. And please let me know how you're doing. If you're one of my clients and you're watching this and you feel comfortable, please say hi. I would love to hear from everybody. It's a big deal for me to take time off to give birth, and I'm overflowed these days with so much abundance, so much joy. We have just the happiest household. And I just want to say hi to everybody and see how everyone's doing. Just do a general check-in. So let me know how you're doing. I would love to hear it. And if you found this video helpful, please let me know in the box below, in the description, in how you can write it in. And I do check my comments, as some of you know. So I like to, kind of be involved here. And you guys, we're still having our contest. So every time that you do comment on one of our videos about how the law of assumption has helped you change your life, you might get to win a free coaching session, which is pretty cool. All right, so go out today and make it awesome, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.